Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Captain America issue 16. And I really enjoyed this issue. It kind of gave us a little bit more information on Scourge and kind of how he's tying up with the Power Elite. And it doesn't look kind of as clear cut as you would think at first glance. So we start off the issue, and we actually see a nice kind of power struggle between Wilson Fisk and Mrs. Lucan. And of course, Wilson wants more information on the cops that the Power Elite have been able to put on his payroll. Mrs. Lucan's like, nah, screw that. I'm refusing you. Screw you. Fisk, of course, is pretty much going to try and make her comply, and she uses her powers a little bit and be like, you don't know what you're doing, man. It's always lonely at the top kind of stuff. And opens up a portal and goes on her way, and Fisk is like pissed. So we then shift over to Steve's perspective, talking about how cop killers are kind of the thing that kind of gets under his skin the most, talking about all the things that he's kind of gone through and just how monstrous he thinks these kind of individuals are. And we see that he's teamed up with Misty, and Misty has found an old arsenal of his, but says that it looks like nobody's been here in ages, since it looks like none of the weapons have been touched. But of course, she gets hit down, and Steve rushes in. Of course, seeing him talk about how he got sloppy, and we see that they run into U.S. Agent. And that doesn't work out pretty well because he got screwed over by Hydra Cap and made to do all these kind of crazy ass things, and of course he's putting that brunt on Steve. Now I liked this fight and kind of seeing Steve's ideas throughout, like all of his thoughts, what he thinks about John Walker and everything, and how complicated their relationship is. One thing that I kind of had a problem with is Steve has been using, of course, the kind of energy shield. But in the two panels that I saw him using the shield, it looked more like his regular shield, and that it kind of came out of nowhere and then disappeared. So that was my only real problem with this whole thing. Other than that, I like the whole thing of pretty much U.S. agent thinking that, well, I don't like that the U.S. agent thinks that Steve would be Scourge. It really doesn't make that much of a sense if you're running from a Hydra run kind of contained, well, former Hydra person contained facility in the Myrmidon, and you would start pulling attention to yourself by killing cops. Now, granted, since Fisk was pretty much instrumental in being in the resistance against Hydra, I could kind of see it. It's kind of a little bit of gray area since I'm kind of thinking about it a little more, but if your objective is to stay more in the shadows and get Hydra to you, this wouldn't be the most effective way to do it. But probably U.S. Agent is just pissed off more that he thinks that Hydra Cap is out on the loose again. But Misty is able to use her arm to use the kind of different gadgets around the place to hold U.S. Agent in place, and Steve is able to get through to him and be like, hey, listen, just we aren't Scourge. We just need any information that you've got on him. He's like, him. It's not one man. It's an idea. And, of course, he said it would have been over long ago if it had just been a man. And they kind of start looking more into it. They see that it's not just 3 dead cops, but 20, and that there is information on the raid out there, but Wilson Fisk has pretty much got it under wraps. And of course, Steve's like, why wouldn't Fisk use this for sympathy? And Sharon's like, that would just be chaos. 3 dead cops is a tragedy, 20 is chaos. It's like, yeah, that makes the most sense. But Misty's able to go through, she says, all of her time on the force, there's been good cops, bad cops, average cops, but none of these people, they're all rookies except for Larimore. And they're like, alright, we gotta go talk to Fisk. While this is going on, we see that Fisk, somebody's aiming a rocket launcher at him and blows up his vehicle, and of course Steve and the rest see them there, so see that going on in the news. So that is a pretty big kink to be thrown in. Do I think Wilson Fisk is dead? Probably not. He's taken like harder hits before. Is he seriously fucked up? Probably. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. I will be really surprised if they go more that Fisk is dead. But then again, I'm trying to figure out what they're going to be playing with, like Ross being dead, because I think the Power Elite would probably use some kind of weird resurrection to use them to their advantage at some point. So I'm like, as they keep going further into this with Scourge and linking it up with what's going on, I'm like, okay, this is going to be an interesting fight for Steve and the Daughters of Liberty against this kind of interesting foe. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.